G'day guys, I'm Matt Brand, and this, oh my God, is the Mercedes-Benz C63S. The C63 is rumoured to be the last C-Class that comes with a dirty, monstrous V8 engine. Apparently, the next C63 will come with a 4-cylinder hybrid all-wheel drive car. So a big question that people are asking is, should you buy one of these now, considering that it might be the last V8 for the C-Class and therefore might hold its value, even at its pretty high price tag of over 200,000 Australian dollars drive away? Well, in today's review, we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about it. Powering the C63S is a monstrous twin-turbo 4-litre V8 engine. And it pumps out a respectable 375 kilowatt of power and a pretty lowly 700 newton meters of torque. Obviously, I'm joking. It's My God, this thing is so fast, it's not funny. The 0 to 100 or 0 to 62 miles an hour. Oh! It's about 3.9 seconds. The C63 is, of course, rear-wheel drive. And honestly, this car would be faster if it could just put the power down. But of course, being rear-wheel drive, it struggles. It's like no matter what speed you're at, if you put your foot down, the car will go, but it will spin its wheels. Now, it does send all of that power through a 9-speed automatic transmission, which is a multi-plate clutch system, and gosh, shifts are like so seamless, it's not funny. But the fact that it can't even hold itself in a straight line, that's the charm of the C63S. And we'll talk about that more towards the end of the video, but man, this car is just like, it's what you would think a modern day muscle car is. That's what the C63 is. It's awesome. We'll come back to driving. Let's talk about the car. Hands down for me, the front of the C63 is terrifying, but in a good way. First of all, I'm gonna put it out there, I think it is the most beautiful looking car of all its competitors. That's the new 4 Series that I reviewed, that's the new Audi A4. This looks better. The thing I love most about the front is that, yeah, it's pretty damn intimidating. It's scary and it feels like it will eat any other car on the road for breakfast. In fact, for me, I kind of feel like it's just trying to start fights. It's looking at someone meanly. It wants you to get into a fight. It wants you to get into a race, but you're too much of a little to do so. Oh, but don't worry, it will enter you into that race. A big reason for that, of course, is the grille. It is a terrifying grille that they put on only the higher spec AMGs, and yeah, it's scary. Flanking those are the headlights, which are starting to get a little bit old, but they have nice daytime running lights, and I actually think they suit the design of this car probably more than whatever the new design language will be with that like tick that you get on the A-Class. And it's funny to me because the C63 comes in shades of white, black, and gray. That is it, except for this color here. This one blue is the only color, real color, that you can get in the C63, and I highly recommend it because it looks stunning and it also looks different. When do you ever see a blue C63? You don't. Down the bottom is a really aggressive front bumper with lots of aero and splitters and such. Also, a big reason it looks so aggressive is because of how wide it is. It has flared haunches and it is huge. This is how you know it's a C63 and not the pleb C43. You know, you get giant fender flares. The side is about as true coupe as you can get, except for the fact it has B-pillars. That's a bit weird, but everything else, very coupey. And for a second, you might get to think, wow, that car looks really elegant. But then you realize that it is just a bull in a dress. Have a look at the wheels, all right? Have a look at the wheels, these black 19-inch alloy wheels with the optional carbon ceramic brakes wrapped in gold. If this doesn't scream, I'm gonna punch you in the head, I don't know what does. In all seriousness though, I really do love the look of the side, and then the rear is just a continuation of that. Very much a bull in a dress, just the way, just everything. At first glance, you might be forgiven for thinking that yes, this is just a standard C-Class from behind. Of course, that's before you take into account the fact it has a lip spoiler at the top Very subtle, but still. Also the fact that it's got wide haunches at the back too. And then, oh, what else is there? Oh yeah, down the bottom is quad exhaust. Now it is a fake shroud. Behind them are the actual exhaust. They're like so small and stubby. You would be amazed to think that this car can make any noise, but oh my God, this car sounds incredible. And I think to make your day, let's listen to what those exhausts sound like. Now, before we move on to the interior, if you are enjoying the video, please do go down there and hit the subscribe button. I release an awesome new car review like this every single week. Back to the interior. Let's start with the overall look, layout, and feel. And just like you would expect for a $200,000 car, it's a very nice place to be. Soft touch materials absolutely everywhere, of course. You can option the C63S with a carbon fiber look, and I absolutely recommend doing that. This one here has the wood inserts, which still look really beautiful, but everything in here just feels quality, well built, and like it's purposeful. In terms of ergonomics and practicality, the steering wheel is tilting and telescoping electronically, of course, and the seats are adjustable in so many ways I've lost count. Storage space is decent, 2 cup holders in the center, more in the doors. The door bins are a good size. You get a USB port up front and a wireless charging pad, and then you get another 2 more in the center armrest, which is pretty big as well. Oh man, this car, it's like provoking me to floor it. No. These seats look pretty menacing, and to be honest, they are. These are the optional AMG performance seats. They're like bucket Recaros, effectively. But I'll tell you what, they're pretty damn comfortable. I'm a pretty thick with 2 Cs kind of guy, but it's not like squeezing me like a lot of other car seats can. Of course, you can adjust pretty much everything on these seats, so they can if you want to. But yeah, they are awesome, and I think they look really, really good too. They are heated, but not cooled. That is, of course, an optional extra. Of course, on a $200,000 car, you can't expect to have cooled seats, you idiot. The steering wheel is just incredible. It's part Nappa leather, part microfiber that meant to look like Alcantara, which is actually a good thing because Alcantara wears very quickly. My God, there is a lot of buttons on this steering wheel though. It takes a second to wrap your head around it, but once you do, it's actually pretty intuitive to use. My favorite part though are the fact that it has like little screens on it. So on the bottom left-hand side, you have your traction control and you have your exhaust sound, like quick select buttons. And then down the bottom right, you have your mode control. And this car has a lot of modes: slippery, individual, comfort, sport plus, and race. Has to be the most amount of modes I've seen in any car, but classic AMG. You've also got some of the best feeling paddles. They have almost no travel in them when you actually click them, but they feel so good. I love it. Excuse me here while I give it a bit of sauce. Ah! Yep. I can't not. Frick! Ugh. Okay, the instrument cluster. Now this is not MBUX, which is Mercedes-Benz latest infotainment screen. That's usually 2 screens side by side. That's the latest design language. This is not that. This is kind of older technology that's been dressed up to look like that. But let me tell you, it's super functional. This instrument cluster is so easy to use and displays so much information. In the center, you get a beautiful tachometer with the speed at the bottom, just like it should be. And yeah, I just love it. It's really color accurate and very responsive. I have less good things to say about this infotainment display. See, this is starting to show its age quite a lot. Now, while it is more than functional enough, it's got navigation, digital radio, Android Auto, and Apple CarPlay. It's not a touch screen like the latest MBUX. You don't get that option, which I would really like. Instead, you get the rotary wheel. I can't say that. The knob. You get the knob in the center, and it's good enough, but it just could be better. I will say though, the graphics are sharp. It's a crisp screen. It's just old now. And Mercedes know that. They're updating it, of course, in the C206 that will be coming out next year, the next generation. Of course, being a coupe, you do get rear seats, and it's kind of surprisingly roomy-ish back there. For a coupe anyway. At 5'11", I won't be able to fit behind myself as a driver's seat, but if the seat moves forward, I can just fit. It's not going to be a very comfortable place to be. If you want practicality, go for the sedan, or better yet, the wagon. Man, the C63 wagon. Oh, I'm in love with that car. Boot space is also pretty damn poor at just 355 litres. It's not very much, but it's good enough. And let's be honest, people who buy this car aren't buying it for the practicality. Big shout out to the Burmeister sound system as well. It is stunning. It is so good. Man, it sounds like a dream. Enough talking about everything else. Let's talk about how it drives, please. Oh, as I said earlier, the C63S is a muscle car, and not just a muscle car, it is the craziest, whoa, muscle car that you could pretty much buy at this point. In all seriousness, there is nothing sane about this car. Nothing is sane about this car. Even in comfort mode, it's like, if you don't floor me, I will hold your family hostage and kill them. Oh, here, I'm gonna put the car into comfort mode and I'm gonna floor it. Oh! I'm lost for words. I'm lost for words. But it's not all roses. That does mean that things aren't necessarily very comfortable. Of course, being a top of the line AMG, you get adaptive dampers. Right now, I'm in comfort mode and it is a stiff ride. Do I care? Of course I don't care. This is meant to be a sports car, and if a car that is sporty doesn't have stiff suspension, it's defying physics. Of course, you put the car into sport mode, there is no body roll. That was traction control. There is no body roll. And it is just so planted, so planted. This car isn't out of this world, it's on another planet. But I would hate if you watch this video, went out and bought a C63 and thought you were getting something luxury. It's not luxury. None of this car is about comfort, none of it. It is a comfortable enough car, but it's still pretty damn stiff, pretty rigid, which is exactly what you want around a racetrack. For those of you who don't know as well, the AMG engine, that is hand-built. It is a hand-built engine, one of the last hand-built engines out there. So big shout out to the guy who built this engine. You have made a pearler of an engine, my friend. Also, don't expect a fuel efficient car. That should go without saying. Right now, this car is averaging about 18 liters per 100 kilometers. It's not fuel efficient. So at the start of this video, I said we would go through if buying this car now is worth it, considering that it's very likely the next C63 will be a 4-cylinder hybrid all-wheel drive. Now, first of all, any car pretty much is a depreciating asset, especially for the first few years. This car might start at just over $200,000, this one here being just over $200,000, but yeah, it's not really worth that at the end of the day, especially because here in Australia, we have the luxury car tax, we have stamp duty, etc., etc., etc. It just builds on the price of this car. But I will say if the next C63S is a 4-cylinder, this car will probably hold its value better than pretty much any Mercedes C63 ever has. There is no replacement for displacement. A 4-liter twin-turbo V8 will just feel a lot more satisfying than a 2-liter 4-cylinder ever could. And even though the engines in like the A45 right now are insane, they're not as fun. I don't know how to put it, but you know what I mean. Sorry. Now you know what I mean. As always, it's hard for me to ever say 200 grand on a car, it's worth it. But what I can say is that if you are thinking about it, if you can afford it comfortably, and you are thinking about pulling the plug but not sure, do it. Do it. Do it. You just won't regret it. It is a nuts, amazing, beautiful, insane, stupid car. But anyway, thank you very much for watching. You guys know what to do. If you enjoyed it, like the video, comment down below. What do you think of the C63? Would you buy one? And of course, subscribe if you are new around here. I would love to have you around the channel. Also, click over there and watch one of my other reviews. I promise you they're fun and worth the watch. But anyway, thank you very much for watching and I'll see you next week.